Your kids could get free or low-cost health coverage from Medicaid or CHIP. Even if you've applied before, they may be eligible now. Kids up to age 19 are covered for checkups, vaccines, dentist visits, hospital care, and more. And if they already have Medicaid or CHIP, remember to renew every year. Visit insurekidsnow.gov or call 877-KIDS-NOW. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
It is your girl, the one and only, Ash Brown, and this is the Ash Said It Show. Over 2,100 episodes since 2014, 500,000 streams around the world. None of this is possible without you guys, so thank you so much for your love, your support, the shares, the cares. It makes a huge difference. Today is a very special episode. We're featuring someone today that I may have touched on, within those 2,100 episodes. But this person was absolutely very impactful in my life, in my transition into the military. And this was one of my recruiters. So today we invite the wonderful Anita to join us today. Hi, Anita.
Hi, Ashley.
How are you doing today?
You know what? Pretty good. No complaints.
Okay.
Doing good.
That's a blessing. That is a blessing. Now, a lot of people know, if you guys have been paying attention to the show, this show in particular, I had no plans on doing. I had no plans on re-entering the world of radio, audio shows, and all those things. So when I started this show, I was in the midst of my grief. Anita and I connected because she was my recruiter. She was the third stop. This was the third recruiting station that I had actually stopped in. And the two previous ones kind of blew me off, kind of weren't taking me serious. But I had a mission. I was going to join the Army. I was going to get my stuff set up. And if this one wasn't going to help me, guess what? There are several other stations I can go to. And when I met Anita at the station, she checked out my credentials and stuff. She looked at what my weight and things were. Weight has been a challenge for your girl for years and years, as most people it is. It's always a challenge. And so she didn't blow me off. First off, I didn't even know you were the station commander. So we'll start off with that. I had no idea, because a lot of the other stations that I had been to, the station commander either wasn't there or they weren't talking to potential recruits. You were there out on the floor, blended in with everybody else.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. And you told me, look, you get to this weight, and then we can cook with grease. All right, we can get this stuff set up. And so did that, and I actually went out and was training with you first thing in the morning. We would meet outside before the sun came up, before the chickens out. And I took a lot from you in that, Anita. And I really appreciate all of the efforts and everything that you did to help pour into me and help me through that journey. And so I know so much about you and so much about your career that I felt that it was very impactful for us to discuss. How did things start with you were a reservist, you were a cook, and then you had opportunities to travel the world.
Yeah.
But it wasn't without those struggles, challenges, balancing life, and all those different things. To start off at the top, starting out as a cook and rising to the rank of E8 is an astronomically large, incredible journey. Can you walk us through the moment that you decided that you wanted to pursue a career in the Army?
Yeah, of course. Well, first of all, Ashley, I got to say, you and I, we've been friends for a very long time. Our journey together and developed into a beautiful friendship, sisterhood. So, and thank you for having me on your show. It feels like, you and I talk so often, and it's like, wow, we're really doing this. But okay, I like it. First of all, I say, again, thank you for having me here. How my career all started. Well, at the age of 17, well, first of all, let me say, I know even before the age of 17 that all I ever wanted to be was an Army girl. It was just in me. I did the ROTC thing for 3 years. My parents decided to relocate the family from Georgia, born and raised in Georgia, and we relocated to Illinois, suburbs of, Chicago. The girls there in that school, they were so cruel and mean towards me. One day after school, at the age of 17, after school, instead of walking home like I normally would, I decided I'm going to the nearest recruiting center. Walked into the recruiting station, talked to a recruiter. Of course, I was 17 years old, so mom and dad was going to have to sign. They were going to have to consent. And afterwards, my recruiter, he shared it with my parents, told me dad was not a fan at all, God rest his soul. Mom was on board with whatever you want to do, we're going to support. So she helped my dad to get to that point and started as a reservist in the Army. And I like to say this is very important. I failed the test, the ASVAB. That's the test that you take. I failed it the very first time. I mean, I was always a mediocre girl. It's like, I don't need to study. I just need to do enough just to get by. And once I failed it, it crushed my ego, even at the age of 17. So I did a little studying. Second time around, 30 days later, earliest opportunity to take it again. I took it and I passed it. But I only had like 3 jobs that they offered me. And I remember it being, I believe it was some type of mechanic, cook, and I forget the third one. But I said, you know what? I don't know how to cook, but they'll teach me. So, yeah, I selected cook, did the reserve thing for 3 years and 8 months, got with this guy, and he was just not a nice guy to me. And I remember requesting to be released from reserve to enter into, active duty. I was allowed to do that. And so my career on active duty started, and it began in 1990, December of 1990. I went off to Germany, which was my first assignment on active duty. Just started moving up through the rank, figuring out what it was. At first, I really didn't take it seriously, honestly. I just was like, I just need a quick gig to get away from this dude. And then I got pregnant with my daughter. Now I have 2 kids, 1 child. I have 2 children I'm responsible for. And, the years went by and I just started maturing and made sure one of the key things I did was I made sure I kept my hands in God's hand. Or maybe it was him that made sure I kept my hands. So let's just keep it real. I don't think I had a whole lot of control over that, but that was definitely, my dad was a pastor, mom was a banker. And so I definitely knew who God was, who Jesus is, and just wanted to stay with him. So throughout my career, at first I just really wasn't serious about it. I just wasn't. But I had some good leaders. I had some bad leadership. And honestly, I feel like the bad leadership was just as important and vital to a successful career as the good leadership was. I needed bad just as much as I needed good, because then I knew what it felt like being on that side of the track. And I don't want to make anyone feel the way this person's made me feel, and they're a leader in charge of me. But anyway, I think I do recall when I really got serious about being a soldier in the military, and I was about 8 years in. I had just gotten stationed at Fort Leavenworth, DB, disciplinary barracks. The disciplinary barracks, just what is self-explanatory. It's pretty much it's the prison where all branches where they go. It's like the only maximum security prison. Now, again, it's at Fort Leavenworth, Kansas. And I remember there, I was getting ready to re-enlist. And I remember praying to God and saying, I don't think I want to keep doing this. I just really need to, we always tend to think the grass is green on the other side. However, when I would get a break, go on leave, which civilians know to be vacation time, I would tell my mom, God knows, bless that woman's heart, complained about the Army to my mom, every opportunity. And she would just work on me. I need to stay where you're at. You're doing good. And I remember thinking that, I'm just going to let it go. If I make it to that 10-year mark, there's no turning back. I'm only at 8 years in right now. I prayed about it and some things happened. I just decided, you know what? I'm all in. And that's really when I became serious, just straight up serious about 8 years into the game, right?
8 years was like the mark for you as far as like getting situated and really understanding, planning your next move essentially with your career. How did you find balance within the demands of this high pressure career and also being a single mom?
Oh gosh, girl, it was so challenging, Ashley. When I think back to that now, it's like I feel myself trying to fight back tears because, you look back and you revisit those times. It's not a bad thing, but it's like, I just know it wasn't all me. It just wasn't. It was my faith. I'm a huge fan of being still. When you don't know what to do, that's my mantra. That's my go-to. Just being still. I don't like acting on emotion. I try to kind of steer clear of that. It was times with even being a single mom, and the money was good. It wasn't bad. And the benefits, I kind of thought about often things that I was blessed with. Like my kids, I wanted them to have the lifestyle and the quality of life that my parents provided for their children, to us, me and my siblings. And not knocking anyone, but I didn't want to be on anyone's system. I didn't want to be on the system. I didn't want to do any of that. I knew I needed to provide medical, dental, vision, all of that to them. I wanted to give them a good opportunity to get out there and be productive citizens of society. I had to do it. Yeah. And neither one of the dads were in their life. I mean, my daughter's father, he was one of those over the phone type dads. Hey, be good. How you doing? I love you, baby. God rest his soul, but it's true. And so, you know what? I focused a lot on, again, my faith. I stayed in church somewhere. I surrounded myself with positive people, something my oldest brother, who was in the Air Force, had shared with me to do. And I took it one day at a time. And you know what? I actually started really enjoying it. It was all about mindset. The challenges that I had at once, they were no longer challenges. I had overcome them. I was kind of looking for the next one, like, this all you got? What's the next thing? I started challenging myself. I was really good at staying in shape physically. But you know what? You need to be there as well, mentally and emotionally and financially. And once I kind of figured that part out, I just really started enjoying it. I remember telling people, I am all Army. If you cut me, I bleed Army. Well, now I tell you, don't cut me and I don't bleed Army, I mean, there's just so much that the military can offer a person that's willing to open their mind and just see it for what it is, and just know that the challenges, they don't last always. They're going to come and they're going to go. It's just all about how you decide to deal with it.
Now, the Army has historically been a male-dominated institution. I mean, that's no surprise. It's no secret. We're always used to seeing, like, historically, they're going to put a man up front with everything. Now, for you, what were some of the most significant challenges that you faced as a woman as you were moving up those ranks?
Just what you said, being a woman. And I'm going to tell you this as well. Keeping yourself attractive, I mean, it brings on unwanted attention. I don't know why some men think because you are putting in the work to keep yourself looking good for yourself now, not for them, but they take it as you want them. You're doing it for them. And here's the thing. You cannot put yourself in a situation where you're not going to be able to control the outcome. So things I never did, girl, I did not. I steered clear of people who, you sit back and you kind of figure out who's who. Yeah. I don't care what's coming from their mouth. If your actions do not line up with what you're saying, you're done. I'm not going to tell you that. I'm going to show you that. You come across a lot of females, girl, that confide in you and tell you they were raped. And I just didn't think that kind of stuff went on. And a lot of times they don't share with anyone because they are victims in their own head. It's like they brought this on themselves or they're ashamed, whatever the case is. Now, sexual harassment, I got that. Guys that were like peers, I get it. That's what they think they can do. You can straight check them jokers, But when you're getting it from your superiors or your boss's boss, that'll mess with your head. I was grateful that I don't know how it came about knowing this, but I kind of knew what to do and what not to do, what to say and what not to say. And here's the thing: definitely don't tell it to anybody if you don't want it to be told to somebody else. So certain things I just kept to myself once I knew what the person was thinking. And I'm gonna tell you, sometimes it's not always a man. Sometimes it's a woman. I was never a drinker. I never got into drinking. I definitely never did drugs because, you get all of that there, especially the alcohol, especially when you're definitely overseas, like in Korea and Germany. That was a real big thing for soldiers to do. And I never did that. I just, again, my faith, I stayed in church. I was always at the chapel or taking a college course working towards that degree. And I just tried to stay with good company, other females, peers who kind of who shared the same mindset as I did.
And of course, without aging you, Anita, you got 30 plus years in the Army. That is incredible.
Yeah.
That is an incredible just accomplishment, because a lot of people, and I'm sure that a lot of people that you started with probably didn't end with you.
Oh, yeah, the majority of them did. You enlisted into the reserve, so you understand the MEP ceremony when they do the swearing in. I'm sure to this day still they tell the recruits and their family members who are there to support them that 1% of the population joins the military. And here's the thing: there's a very small percentage. I think the last I heard, it was less than 20% of people who joined actually retired. So of all the girls that I served with and some of the ones that I still keep in contact, oh no, there's only a few of us that retired. I mean, I'm grateful the fact that they even served, just like yourself. Hey, everybody's story is just not going to look alike. It's not going to look the same. So that was just my journey, and I was just glad that I knew early on that was the path I was to take.
So for you, starting off as a cook, retiring E8, and I know that there were so many different things that happened in the span of time as during your career, but can you share maybe a time or an experience that really warmed your heart? Something that you look back on and you're like, wow, I am so thankful that I was a part of this or being able to witness that.
Well, I guess mine's going to be on a personal level, if I could. Something that personally happened. Gosh, and you know what, Ash? This is so... I don't believe in coincidences in life at this point. I just don't. I believe in fate. And, hey, but just early today, I was sitting down in my home office at my desk, and I'm going back over some photos. And I think earlier I shared some with you, like, some things from back in the past. But anyway... it's funny you asked this question. I didn't know you were going to ask this, but I was looking at, I didn't open the video because it's just going to have me boo-hooing all over the place. But so when I became a first sergeant over a recruiting company, I had a company of 40. And so I was on that assignment, that tour for, it was a 2-year assignment, right? And so when I was coming out of that position, we have a change of responsibility ceremony that takes place, and I'm the outgoing first sergeant incoming. So it's just a ceremony and blah blah blah, and so I know I had some guys that really, like, I had one soldier that been in the Army for like 14 years, and he got out, and before he got out, he told me that he just didn't want to work for a female, and I couldn't believe this guy was going to walk away from his career. It's like, wow, you're going to allow somebody, I didn't take it personally, but you're going to allow someone to change the way you feed your family. That's pretty deep. So anyway, what can you do? I tried talking with him and helping him to see the big picture, but, it was just to no avail. Well, I went on and I marched on, and come to end, it's time to do this ceremony, and I got choked up when it was my turn to, as outgoing first sergeant, to speak. Girl, I bawled. I tried my hardest to keep those tears back, but I couldn't. So anyway, and I finally got done with that at the end of the ceremony, and then, it was time for me. We all, we break some bread together, and I gone to the bathroom before I sat down to eat, because I had to clean up my face. And girl, when I came out of the women's room, there are two soldiers. Now, let me tell you this. They were white male soldiers, and they both had come from line units where at once upon a time females weren't allowed in those units when they served. Well, they were on recruiting duty now. And girl, when I tell you, they both were waiting for me, and they asked me could they speak to me. And girl, when I looked in their eyes, their eyes looked like mine. I just looked at mine in the mirror, red, and they were kind of like puffy. And they shared with me that their story was they did not want to work for me or work under me or be in a company with a female leader. And one of them told me, he said, "First Sergeant, I love you." He said in his 11 years before he came on recruiting duty, he only had one first sergeant that he would go to war, back to war with, and he never had anyone else. He said, "Well, you're the second one."
Wow.
And he told me he never thought that he could work for a female leader. And he told me he loved me. And the other one, his story was very, very similar. And he said, "We just had to tell you this, and we don't want to see you go." And it was just, gosh, I mean, talk about giving someone their flowers, I mean, that just meant the world to me. That's when you really know that you have truly made a difference. So it was well worth it. Again, it had its challenges. And sometimes you don't always know you never really know what people are thinking of you, because when they come in front of you, especially if you're if you're at a certain level or we're at a certain rank, they're gonna play the game. They may hate your guts, but they respect. I mean, they're gonna give it to you. They have no choice. Yeah, that was huge for me. And before then, in the full service world as a cook, I made it to dining facility manager, and it's just it's tradition for before you leave, we do hail and farewell. So before you leave, especially in certain seats, they're gonna honor you, and you're gonna break some bread, and they're gonna sometimes even come bearing gifts, and everybody gets a chance to stand up and kind of give you some words of encouragement, or just kind of mock you. You go through it all, and they just tell you what they thought of you, what you mean to them, regardless of how great or how little. And I have been told before I left as dining facility manager in Korea that I wasn't liked. They didn't like me, and they considered me to be the B word. And but one guy followed up with, you are exactly the type of leader. I was exactly the type of leader that he wanted to become. But he has some growing to do, because here's the thing. People often think they don't see you when you're trying to keep them on the straight and narrow. They kind of, especially when they've had bad leadership and that's all they know, they kind of see you as a problem. But I mean, love is going to correct you. When you care about somebody, you're going to tell them what they need to hear and not necessarily what they want to hear. And I never cared to do it in front of, if I had to kind of reprimand someone, it was never, I needed an audience. It was just one-on-one, constructive criticism. And, but, I went through my little thing as a young soldier, so I kind of, I didn't forget where I come from. So I knew you plant those seeds, and you plant good seeds, and you kind of expect another good leader along the way to kind of water those seeds. And eventually a person is going to develop, and they're going to mature, and they're going to blossom into that beautiful flower that hopefully, you are right about now, and it's just, as you and I say often, we talk over the phone, we all have a journey. We all have a story.
Anita, today, you've been through the fire. Shout out to Shaka Khan, all right? You've been through the fire, all right? Through it all. And
I
then
love
back.
Shaka Khan.
Yes. I mean, I don't know if I can trust somebody if they don't like Shaka Khan. I'm like, I don't know I don't think we could be cool if you saying something about Shaka. But you've been through so much in your career, in your life, just as a whole. If Anita today had the opportunity to talk to that cute little 17-year-old with that fire burning in her to join the Army, what would you say to her today?
Oh, gosh, that's a good one, Ash. And you know what? I'm going to be like my late father once told me over 19, when talking with him before he passed, I rest his soul. I don't have any regrets. I really don't. But what I would tell my younger self is you don't always have to be heard. You don't always have to be right. You're not always going to be in control. Girl, shut your pie hole, please. Because at one point in my life, I always had to have the last word. I was a little meek, quiet girl growing up. And my mom often say, you was real quiet as a child. And when you went to the military, you came back you can't shut up. Yeah. And so, I was trying to make my mark in life. And I think I was going about it. It really could have been a wrong way. You know what I'm saying? It was the wrong way in so many ways. So, yeah, I would tell myself, never lose who you are. At one point, I was chasing after something. I was buying some of that stuff the world was selling, girl. I mean, I just was. And I thought the world was where it was at, And it didn't last long. It was always something that set me on my butt real quick, fast. But, yeah, I would definitely tell my younger self, believe in you. Because there were times that I had a lot of doubt. And it wasn't in God, never God, but it was, I had a lot of doubt in myself. It's like there was times I was like, man, what the heck am I doing with my life? I had doubt, Ashley. I'm grateful for the people God planted in my life, mostly my parents, because my mom had her way. My mom and dad were, even after 30 plus years of marriage, they divorced. They were pretty much telling me the same thing, just in different ways. My dad was a little kind of like aggressive. Girl, what the hell you doing? What the hell wrong with you? And my mom was more of, Anita, honey, you don't want to do that. You don't want to get out of the Army and come back. There's nothing here. And then you go home and, folks asking you, can I borrow $20? I'm like, dang, you got $20? It must be rough to be in your world. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I would just, to go back to what you asked, I would just say the doubt that I did have, I kind of want to see it as I wasted some time. I wasted time dealing with guys that I really shouldn't even entertain, to be honest with you. That was time that I can't get back. So, yeah, I would tell myself, hey, don't be impulsive. Do not act in haste. If it's meant for you, girl, it's not going to miss you. I learned that later on in life, and better late than never, but I feel like that's definitely an area that I could have used someone, a mentor, to tell me, hey, girl, it ain't worth it. But I learned, and sometimes I learned the hard way, but I learned it.
Absolutely. Yeah. Beautifully put. Anita, thank you so much for coming through. Definitely appreciate you beyond words. You are my sister. I don't care what nobody got to say. And I appreciate you so much. Not just on just the surface level of helping me join the Army, but you were one of those quiet voices on the sidelines as me and my family were going through, and my mom was in the hospital, and then she was in hospice, and you were always steadfast there for me, and that is a huge part of my memory during that tumultuous time. Like it wasn't nothing but God that got me through. That it wasn't me, myself, and then even going through the grieving process, I know that you shared with me some about losing your father and what that process was like for you. And you always made, thank you so much for making yourself available to me. Like if I was calling you just in the random middle of the day or texting you or whatever the case is, you never made me feel like I was a burden. And I just thank you for that.
So you're going to have me crying, girl.
Okay, no. We're not supposed to be crying. No, but you were just, and that's just the Christ in you and allowing that to just permeate and knowing how to be there for people. Even if, you maybe going through some personal stuff yourself, you stepped outside of that and you were there for me and my family, and I will never forget that. And I just say thank you. That's all I can say.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, I want to share this. We got a couple more minutes because I want to say something about you because, girl, let me tell you, you have such a sweet soul, Ashley, and you're so gentle, and you really make it easy. People like you make it so easy. I mean, for you to be so transparent and share with others, include myself, of the pain that you were feeling. And, I remember when we were going to the hospital and, my greedy behind, let girls go downstairs and get something to eat. Hospital food be good sometimes, you know what I'm saying? And Miss Donna, God rest her soul, just a beautiful, you had the most beautiful, your mom's face was so pretty.
Skin flawless.
Yes. I was like, wait a minute, she in the hospital with makeup on and a damn, just like, no, that's the skin. I was like, dang, Miss Donna. But girl, just beautiful, beautiful teeth. I still see her right now. But I have so much respect for you. I admire you. Girl, your mother, as you just said, she was admitted to hospice. And for you to still, I remember to this day, like it was yesterday, Ashley, where I'm talking to you. I think we're driving a government vehicle, heading to the station or taking you wherever, home. I hope it was, because we're not supposed to go anywhere else in that vehicle, right? To many other places. But anyway, it was official government business. Let's put that out there. But I remember I was just trying to let you know, Ashley, you don't have to do this. Your mother's in hospice. And I knew, again, my dad he was at, his hospice, it was home care hospice, but still was hospice. That's some serious business. It's pretty much them saying, hey, there's nothing else we can do. It's all going to be up to God. And all we can do is keep the person comfortable. And I wanted you to understand, like, are you sure? And you politely, so gently told me, pretty much, you had this. And I'm just being just short about it because you gave me some more details, of course, but that was the gist of it. This is what I set out to do, and you told me it's with your mother. You was doing it because you loved your mother, and she taught you those things, and you stepped out of faith. And the very next day after you left, your mother passed. And girl, I mean, I was so. I know you was hurt because I was torn. I was just torn apart. But your family, you and your dad and Ro and your family, you guys, you embraced me. You allowed me a seat in your world. I mean, I feel like I'm family. You know what I'm saying? You guys, we are family. It's just, you're just such a beautiful, beautiful soul. You really are. I'm grateful that God allowed us to cross paths.
Thank you so much. That definitely means a lot because my mama, God rest down to Teresa, and Grandma Lou, Louise Christina. Yes, I know that's all that they ever wanted was for me and my siblings to be good people, to be good pillars for this world, produce good things for the world, and to care about our community and to care about human life. And I've done my best to do that. So to get that from you, I really appreciate that. That means a whole lot.
Absolutely.
It really does. Wow, Chad, we done went through all of the emotions in one show. I can't believe it. Oh my goodness. But no, Anita, thank you so much for coming through.
Absolutely.
You are more than welcome back. I know that there's, you are doing a lot of different things and you're involved in a lot of different places and you're a little bit of everywhere. So I know that there's going to be stuff going on. You're more than welcome back on. We always got something to talk about. There's always going to be something.
Sure.
So
absolutely.
Definitely want to leave that open for you. But I thank each and every one of you guys. Thank you so much for your love and support. Keeping in mind, anyone to tell you that you can't do what you want to do, you look them square in the face. You tell them, don't believe me. Just watch. Watch what I do. Watch me make it happen. Watch me make history. That's what we're doing this for, the history books. Social media is nice, but real life is so much better. Until next time, you guys.